Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osman. In this week's episode, Lake George got a little bit closer for county residents. Pedestrian safety is a focus for local law enforcement, and we have ways to celebrate and protect our Florida natural environment. Plus, Joanne Magley talks with Jennifer Winters, manager of the county's Sea Turtle program. Those segments and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. Volusia County boaters will soon have a free public boat ramp on gorgeous Lake George. The county's Parks, Recreation, and Culture Division is moving forward with plans to develop Shell Harbor Park on the lake's eastern shore near Pearson. In addition to the boat ramp, the park will include a kayak launch, floating dock, pavilion, restroom, and an asphalt parking lot and road.
It's located on the southeastern shoreline of Lake George. There's minimal access there, especially in Volusia County. So by having this new park developed, it gives folks direct access to Lake George in a relatively short period of time.
6 miles across and 11 miles long, Lake George is the second largest lake in Florida after Lake Okeechobee. Its brackish waters are home to migratory water birds, alligators, and marine animals including the Atlantic stingray, striped bass, and blue crabs. But Volusia County boaters currently have to travel to Lake County to find a public ramp. The $1.1 million park will cover 9 acres at 1800 Shell Harbor Road in Pearson. The lakefront property was donated to the county in 2013. A Volusia County ECHO grant will pay for nearly half of the development, and the county has applied for an additional grant from the Florida Inland Navigation District to fund the rest.
We met with the public. The meeting was held up in Pearson Community Center. What I was looking for was to get their feedback on the design, our draft of the first design of the park, to see if they're comfortable with how we had it laid out. We had dialogue back and forth. Everybody by the end of the night was satisfied with the design. We made no changes to it, so it looks like we're now going to move forward.
Volusia County plans to begin construction in 2017. Whether you're walking across the street to run an errand or your child is going to school, when it comes to pedestrian safety, we all play an important role. To bring awareness to pedestrian safety and to highlight the importance of obeying state laws, police department officers recently teamed up with Stetson University to coordinate pedestrian safety operations at the intersection of Minnesota and Amelia Avenues in DeLand. During a 4-hour period on multiple days, officers monitored adherence to state laws, issuing warnings as well as citations to motorists and pedestrians.
We've asked the DeLand Police Department to come out here and patrol the area as heavy as they can to reduce the possibility of those types of traffic crashes involving pedestrians. And education is always our primary responsibility. We want to make sure that the students are aware of what the traffic statutes are, and to be quite honest with you, I mean they are studying hard here. They're concentrating on what they need to do, and to be quite honest, when they're going to and from classes, oftentimes they're not paying attention to what they're actually doing. They're paying attention to what they need to do next.
Florida state law requires motorists to stop for pedestrians at crosswalks, intersections, and roads with signage that indicates there is a crosswalk. In addition, state law requires motorists to yield the right-of-way to pedestrians at crosswalks, even if there are no signs. Failure to yield to a pedestrian can result in a fine and points added to your driver's license. Pedestrians also have a role in staying safe themselves when crossing roadways. Florida law requires pedestrians to use crosswalks, and if there is no crosswalk, then at least cross at intersections. Pedestrians can receive fines for not adhering to the state law.
We reached out to the Florida Department of Transportation. They provided us with some educational flyers that are specific to pedestrians at the crosswalk, pedestrians at the signals, and then to the motorists. So we have 3 different flyers to hand out when we identify a violator. Based off of the nature of the violation, the officer would have discretion to issue either a warning in writing and provide them with the flyer relative to the violation, or to issue a citation if they felt that the violation warranted it.
The results of not respecting these laws can be costly and tragic. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in the next 24 hours, 430 people will be treated for traffic-related pedestrian injuries. In the next 2 hours, 1 pedestrian will die from injuries in a traffic crash. As pedestrians, children are even at a greater risk of injury or death from traffic crashes due to their small size, their inability to judge distances and speeds, and lack of experience with traffic rules. 1 in 5 traffic deaths among children ages 14 and under are pedestrian deaths.
Stay within the crosswalk. Make sure you're looking both ways before crossing the roadway. It's recommended to pull your headphones off or take your earbuds out before entering the road so you could hear if there was an emergency vehicle coming through. Try not to be looking at your cell phone when crossing. Be attentive to the traffic in the area. And once you safely get to the other side, you can resume whatever business you were doing.
The safety operation is a good reminder across Volusia County of the importance of pedestrian safety and the responsibility that everyone has to make sure loved ones return home safe. For more information, you can visit the National Highway Traffic Safety and Administration's website at nhtsa.gov. The Volusia County Library System has more than just books. Here's a look at upcoming programs at our branches. For more library events, visit volusialibrary.org. On the heels of Tropical Storm Hermine, Volusia County is starting to see rain more frequently in its forecast. With rain comes standing water, which can be a breeding ground for mosquitoes. This week on Volusia Here and Now, we'll join Shelley Safranek for some tips to reduce mosquitoes around your home so that you can enjoy being outdoors mosquito-free.
So when I say tip and toss, do you think of sports? Tip and toss in Volusia County means something a little different. We are so fortunate to have great year-round warm weather to enjoy the beach, the sun, the surf. But while our friends up to the north get ready for cold weather, it's important that with our warm weather also comes year-round potential for mosquitoes. So let's learn how we can do our best to prevent mosquitoes in our area. With an annual average temperature of 70 degrees, Volusia County is rich in outdoor recreational opportunities. From enjoying the beach to boating on scenic waterways to barbecuing in your backyard, there are plenty of opportunities to kick back, relax, and enjoy the sunshine. We aren't the only ones who enjoy Florida's year-round temperate weather, though. Mosquitoes also like the mild temperatures. As you enjoy the outdoors, it's important to remember to tip and toss to do your part to minimize places for mosquitoes to develop. Looking at this house, it may not look like a place mosquitoes would call home, but if you take a little closer look, you can see this house doesn't just have a great backyard with plenty of space to enjoy, it's also a place mosquitoes can thrive if it has containers that can accumulate standing water.
One of the ways that that people enjoy their backyards is setting up a kiddie pool for the kids, grandchildren, so on and so forth. These pools, though, have to be maintained, and so tipping these over and storing them properly so that they don't accumulate water, which is what's going on here. We've just had some rains, and we have pockets of water throughout this kiddie pool, and there is, in fact, mosquito production taking place in this kiddie pool. You can see the larvae and the pupae in these pockets of water throughout the kiddie pool. These larvae and pupae are going to develop into adult mosquitoes in less than a week, and they'll then be biting you and your neighbors. So you want to take care of situations like this, like what we see behind me with the tire that's upright that's likely holding water, just like this kiddie pool. And even things as small as that frisbee can hold water.
Now when it's outside, it's important to avoid being bit by mosquitoes. You'll want to make sure you wear a mosquito repellent with DEET. Just as important is taking steps around your home to reduce areas mosquitoes can develop. You should take a walk around outside and tip containers of standing water and toss unused ones at least weekly, McNally said. Take for instance those bird baths and flower pots that provide opportunities for bird watching and working in the garden. They too can hold water after it rains.
This is a real good example of what we see in Volusia County. You know, people fill these up on their own. They fill with rainwater. And as you can see, we have larvae and pupae throughout the water that's contained in this bird bath.
Looking at this flower pot, it's easy to see how the rim around the bottom can hold water. What might be surprising is mosquitoes can develop in water that accumulates inside flowers, like this bromeliad. For these types of flowers, you'll want to use a hose and flush the water weekly.
Here's another common example of what we see, particularly after a rain. You know, people cover their lawnmowers, in this case with tarps, but we also see tarps over pools, above ground pools, over boats, and the dimples will hold water and actually hold that water long enough for mosquitoes to be produced in the water that we're seeing here.
And who doesn't enjoy an afternoon of boating? Boating can provide a relaxing day on the water, but you won't want mosquitoes relaxing in any water that accumulates while you store it. For the tossing, while snacking and staying hydrated can ensure you have energy for being outdoors, containers left behind can hold water that mosquitoes also will appreciate. Even the cap of a water bottle is large enough for these pesky flying critters to develop in. Living in Volusia County, there are unlimited possibilities to enjoy being outdoors. As you get out and about and toss that football or tip that frisbee on the beach, remember to do your own version of tip and toss and minimize mosquitoes all year long. For Volusia Here and Now, I'm Shelley Safranek.
Native Americans loved and protected Florida's natural lands, living in harmony with Mother Nature for thousands of years. The rapid population growth and land development of the 20th century led to concerns that the lands they loved were disappearing. Many counties joined the state and federal governments with efforts to preserve Florida's natural lands. In fact, the Volusia County Council has been the leader in land conservation efforts, purchasing more than 37,000 acres for preservation and for public enjoyment over the last few decades. Thanks to their foresight, you can experience natural Florida the way the Native Americans did. The county owns 8 separate conservation lands, ranging from the 140-acre Scrub Oak Preserve to the 12,000-acre Longleaf Pine Preserve. The lands offer abundant opportunities for hiking, wildlife viewing, group camping, and horseback riding. One of the most popular sites is Lyonia Preserve in Deltona, where people can hike through the scrub habitat and get an up-close look at the endangered Florida scrub jay. The county's newest conservation land, Deep Creek Preserve, offers 8,000 acres of natural lands west of New Smyrna Beach. The conservation lands are dedicated to protecting native habitats and the plants and animals that depend on them. National Public Lands Day is September 24th, but any day is a great day to visit some of the county's conservation lands. Feel free to strike out on your own or join some of the county's guided hikes and eco buggy tours. Get more details at volusia.org/explore Volusia. Learn more about Volusia County's conservation lands at volusia.org/conservationlands. This is Pollution Prevention Week, celebrating the 26th anniversary of the Pollution Prevention Act. Many industries are using green practices, and you can too. Volusia County's Environmental Management Division is taking this opportunity to educate the public about their role in preventing pollution.
It's our planet, it's a living organism, and all 7 billion of us humans live on it, but yet we are causing the greatest pollution on it, both the air and the water, in addition to the soil.
Here are 5 simple steps you can take to reduce greenhouse gases and save money. Change 5 light bulbs. Replace your 5 most frequently used light bulbs with Energy Star products, and you will help the environment while saving $70 a year on your energy bill. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. The more we recycle, the fewer trees we have to cut down, the fewer mines we have to dig, and the less petroleum we have to extract from the earth. Use water efficiently. Install water-efficient shower heads and appliances. Run only full loads in your washing machine and your dishwasher, and turn off your water while brushing your teeth or shaving. Go native. Use native plants in your landscape. They require less water and less fertilizer. Rethink your commute. Consider carpooling, riding your bike, walking, or taking the bus.
So the best way we can prevent pollution is by reducing our waste, recycling all the products that we possibly can, raising awareness, recycle everything that we possibly can, and reduce our consumption of energy in every way we can. Use less gasoline to get around, use petroleum products to get around, use less electricity at home, and those are some of the ways that we can make sure that future generations enjoy the quality of resources that we currently have.
For more tips on pollution prevention, you can visit volusia.org/environmental or call Volusia County's Environmental Management Division at 386-736-5927. Here's a look at some events happening around Volusia County. For more events and county news, visit volusia.org. It's time to head into the studio to join the Director of Community Information, Joanne Magley, and her guest, Volusia County Sea Turtle Program Manager, Jennifer Winters.
Thanks, Amber. Well, it's been a near record-breaking turtle season here in Volusia County. This 5-month observation of turtle nesting habits is closely watched by Volusia County and in particular key staff of the Environmental Management Division. And so with us today to talk about turtle nesting season is Jennifer Winters, Volusia County's Habitat Conservation Plan Manager. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Joanne.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So turtle nesting season begins May 1st and it runs through October 31st. And before we get into the numbers of the season so far, for those who are new to the area, tell us a little bit about turtle nesting season. Give us an overview and why is it so important that we monitor it?
Okay. Well, sea turtle nesting season, like you said, is during the summer from May through October. And Florida in general is one of the most important sea turtle nesting habitats in the world. And so Volusia County, of course, falls into that category. And every summer we have hundreds of sea turtles which use our beaches at night to lay their eggs to help these endangered and threatened animals be able to reproduce into the future.
So what type of turtle species do we have here in Volusia County, and how long does it typically take them from the time they come to shore, lay their eggs, and then the eggs hatch?
It typically takes between 50 to 70 days for a nest to fully incubate and hatch. And we have 3 common species that nest here. The first one is the loggerhead sea turtles, and they will nest in the hundreds, where we usually have on average about 500 loggerhead sea turtle nests. And then our next most common species is the green sea turtle, and they nest in much fewer numbers. Usually around a 50 or so nest would be a high number for us. This year we actually only have a handful. And then the next most common species would be the leatherback sea turtles, which are very rare and endangered, and they're very large. They look almost prehistoric if you get to see them. And they nest in maybe the tens, if we're lucky, every summer.
Okay. So each year you, throughout the season especially, you try to educate the public because there's things that everybody has to do to make sure that the nesting season is successful. So tell us about how you want how citizens are supposed to work together to help do things to make that successful.
Okay. Well, of course, these are wild animals, and they use our natural habitat, and so the more natural that the beaches are for them, and welcoming they are for them to come in and lay their nests, there's a lot of different things that people can do and know about to help our sea turtles have a productive nesting season. One of the things is just to have a clean, safe beach without a lot of beach equipment left out overnight can be problematic for not only people walking on the beach at night, but also for sea turtles and other animals trying to use our beaches. Lighting also is something that people can do and be aware of, because lighting can actually deter turtles from coming into areas to lay their nests, but also as the nests are hatching, the baby turtles are attracted to the natural bright horizon of the moonlight over the ocean. And so if there's bright artificial lighting in areas, then those turtles can actually be misled away from the ocean. And so those are two of the biggest things that people can do and be aware of.
So let's talk about the numbers. Where are we at so far this season? I know you've told me throughout the season that we're just doing really well as far as nests and such go.
Yeah, we've had an amazing, great season. It's our third highest on record for the number of nests. So we've had 673 nests counted, and all of those nests are now being evaluated, and over 500 of them are already cleaned off the beach.
Okay.
So we've only got about 100 left that will be remaining in the sand through October. And right now we don't anticipate getting a whole lot of new nests.
Okay.
They're triggered to come in with the temperature changes in the spring, and they're now moving on and going to their wintering grounds.
How many eggs are typically in a nest?
Usually around 100.
And what's the number of hatchlings that typically make it out, I guess? Is it a pretty good number?
There is. Every year we look at that, and there's a lot of different things that can play into how successful the nests are. But on average, we usually have over a 70% reproductive success rate in our nests here in Volusia County.
And lately, the hatchlings have encountered some difficulties, I should say, trying to make it out. The tropical storm that we recently had is causing some problems, and they're called washbacks. So tell us a little bit about the washbacks and what's going on.
Washback sea turtles are the name that we give these sea turtles that have hatched out of their nests, and they've made their journey offshore, and their first period of their lives, they actually live in the floating sargassum seaweed that's out in the Gulf Stream and the Sargasso Sea. And so as we get these tropical storms in the fall, because the nesting season has just occurred, and there's literally hundreds of thousands of these babies out there floating in the seaweed, in the fall is sort of the peak time that it's likely that as seaweed gets pushed back onto the beaches, that we'll find these washback sea turtles. And so, yes, with this storm, we've had over, between 50 and 100 collected off Volusia County beaches, and they're all taken to the Marine Science Center to be, held until they can be taken back offshore by boat once the storm conditions calm back down.
So at the Marine Science Center, they're probably evaluated, and like you said, they're held. What else is done at the Marine Science Center? And then when you say taken out into a boat, tell us that process a little more.
Well, they're collected off the beach because they're subject to being dehydrated. They don't have a lot of energy. So, a lot of people instinctually just want to put them back in the water. But we try to educate people not to do that because, again, they don't have the energy that they need to swim back offshore. So they're collected, they're taken to the Science Center where they can get rest, they can get fed, they can get, analyzed to see if they need any other help. And then once, again, the storm conditions calm down, we recruit boats that are going far offshore, and they'll actually take these turtles out and back out into that floating weed line where they're re-released.
And a great way for people to get involved with the sea turtles is to actually become a volunteer, and there's a number of ways that people can help with the turtles, and one of them is by helping you track. Tell us about that.
Right. Well, we have a volunteer group called the Washback Watchers, and we try to recruit people who are already out there or who like to walk on the beach, and then we train them, and we'll call them when these conditions are just right, and it's likely that we're finding washback sea turtles because they camouflage well. And sometimes there's a lot of seaweed on the beach, and we have 36 miles of beach with seaweed coming in, and so we really can use these people to just be an extra eye out and then be educated on what to do when they do find a turtle.
Before we go, let's talk a little bit about the Volusia County's federally approved habitat conservation plan, which is the plan that protects the sea turtles and other coastal wildlife.
Okay, yeah, our habitat conservation plan, it's really comprehensive, and it includes a lot of things that we do at the county level to help protect our beaches, to keep them safe for sea turtles to nest, but also so that people can recreate and have a good time. We literally have millions of vehicles coming on our beaches every year, and so you know, in order to balance those two things, the habitat conservation plan plays a big role in all of that.
And people can find more information about that on our website. Before we go, what's the most important thing you want to tell people regarding sea turtles and really just the beach environment and how to just make it the best for people and for the sea life?
Right. I think the biggest thing people can do is just to educate themselves more. Our Marine Science Center in Ponce Inlet is a great place to go, especially if you have a family with kids. But any ages are welcome there. They can see sea turtles in person. I think that makes a really big difference as far as people understanding about our local wildlife along the coast. And they've got some great fish tanks as well, so you can see a lot of different native animals and birds and wildlife and learn there. What to look out for and what to do when you are on the beach. So
I mentioned the website. Where exactly on the website do you want people to go to get more information?
We have a direct link to www.volusiaseaturtles.org, and on the left-hand side there's a lot of different links that they can find to our alliances, including the Marine Science Center and the volunteer groups that are out marking the nest every morning. There's just a plethora of information there.
All right. Well,
Okay.
Jennifer Winters, Volusia County's Habitat Conservation Plan Manager, thank you so much for being here.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right, Amber, back to you.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council's meeting calendar there too. In fact, you can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osmond. Have a wonderful evening.